Hello friends, we are now discussing post-colonial writings and their special characteristics, also four major models. You remember, no? First of all, national and regional models, comparative models. Third is race-based models or black writing, and the fourth is syncretism, special emphasis, studies giving special emphasis on syncretism and hybridity, which characteristics you find in almost all post-colonial writings, right from America to Australia, through Australia to Africa. I think that's enough. Now that much of sweep is enough, I hope. Now we come to the third one, is the black writing or the race-based model. Black writing. The black writing or race-based models. Now here what you find in a race is this is something that cuts across several of the literatures from post-colonial societies. Several of the America. They have black writing in America, the minority there. Then in the African countries, you have the West Indies, South Pacific, the Caribbeans. So you find that many post-colonial societies, several of the literatures, you cut across, or traverses, we say, traverses. This model traverses almost, or you can say many of the post-colonial societies and their literatures. One of the important points to note here is that race. Race is a major feature of basis for exploitation, economic as well as political. So that is, and it draws together the writers of all the black diaspora. See, all these black writing models you can see, they have their origin in economic and political exploitation, and this model draws all the writers of the black diaspora, whether it is in USA, whether it is in Afro-Caribbeans, or whether it is in African countries. The point to note here is that the distinctive black consciousness, the writers of the black diaspora, they are attempting to form or develop a distinctive black consciousness. And this resulted distinctive qualities of black culture and identity. Black consciousness, one is black consciousness and the distinctive qualities, some distinctive qualities of black culture and the qualities of black culture and identity. So that is it. Now the two major writers who initiated this process, this development, or this idea of black consciousness, distinctive qualities and identity, they are you might have come across these names, Amy Cheshire. One is Amy Cheshire, Amy Cheshire, and the other is politician and poet, famous politician and poet, Leopold Sedar Senghor. Leopold Sedar Senghor. These are African names now. The exact pronunciation. Please don't attack me saying that the pronunciation is wrong and things like that. No, this is what I have heard, and so I am also transmitting the same thing to you. If you find that there is another pronunciation, in fact, when I looked up the pronouncing dictionary of Daniel Jones, I couldn't find the phonetic script for this, and therefore I am pronouncing it like this. So if you want to find fault with me, it's okay. I have no objection to that, in the sense that there is no other way. that there is no other reference that I can find, and therefore please excuse me if I am making any mistake. So Leopold Sedar Senghor, and he is actually he is a politician and a poet, and the other one is a great writer, Amy Cheshire. So what they did is they gave a name to this that black consciousness and qualities of black culture and identity as a distinct aesthetics. Yes, a distinct aesthetics, something different from the European, a distinct aesthetic, something different from the European way of looking at the works of art. And they called it the philosophy of negritude. Negritude. Nigger means black. That's so. What we find is that negritude. It is the black philosophy, you can say, the philosophy of negritude. And what did negritude attempt to do? Negritude attempted to separate the black criticism or the race black criticism or the black aesthetics, black consciousness, black identity and black qualities. Separate these from the European, the conventional way of looking at works of literature by the Europeans. You have got, for example, a collection of essays, black literature and literary theory. Black literature and literary theory, they have brought forward a new concept called soul in black music. Soul means repetition. So this is something that you do not find in European critical theories or European approaches to aesthetics, that you won't find. So this is something special. Something special, you can say like that. The criticism of negritude or the philosophy of negritude. There are other points also, not only this soul, but there are other major issues that they are concerned about. And the first one you can say is that black culture is emotional rather than rational. So this is point one. Negritude or philosophy of negritude, they say. Amy Cheshire and Leopold Sedar Senghor, they were the people who contributed to this. So the first point is black culture is emotional rather than rational. You can see now, if you have seen films and if you have got any contact with these people, you will understand that they are very emotional and they always talk at the top of their voice, isn't it? You must have seen that. No? Yeah, that is rational. And the other point is their stress was on integration and wholeness. Integration and wholeness rather than dissection and analysis. Dissection rather than, that's the difference, rather than dissection and analysis. See, for example, the European mind is not like that. The European mind is, the mind of the West works on minute analysis, isn't it? Minute analysis and dissection. But negritude says we are not concerned about that. We always look at the whole thing, the integration and the wholeness. Understand? And another thing is, negritude operated on a rhythmic and temporal principles. Rhythmic. Operated on a rhythmic and temporal principles. Temporal principles. You can see now if you see they sing their songs and their musical instruments and so on, you'll find now. They give importance to rhythm. Like this. You can see that. Have you seen that? So, for example, if I have had a song like this, that is, who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Like that. So they'll repeat it again and again. Repetition, soul, I told you. At least 10 times. Once I happened to come across this, then I saw, you can see, if you play this, their songs and the way they are singing and so on, you find a lot of, the entire body is rhythmic for them. From top to bottom they are rhythmic, you can see that. And also they have got what we must know, probably is because their drums are very loud. Why now? Probably it's because they had a very, in the early stages, they had a very hostile environment, and to frighten the animals probably, they might have used these drums with a terrible noise, isn't it? On the rhythm and so on. Maybe it's because of that, we do not know. I am not an expert to say that. I'm just guessing it, maybe like that. So rhythm is very important for them. Rhythm, rhythmic. Everything is terribly rhythmic. The speech also, they are very rhythmic people. Understand? So they claim the distinctive time-space relationship, and also a new way of, let's say that, new tastes and new values. So they developed a new taste, thus they developed a new taste and new values. New values. So there's time, temporal time. Temporal means timing, no timing. That's when there is a rhythm has to be followed by timing, or rhythm should be preceded by timing. In that way you can say. When there is timing, we have. So these are the main points now. To this negritude, the philosophy of negritude, or the negritudinist criticism, or negritudinist philosophy. First, emotional rather than rational. If you think about the Europeans nowadays, whether one is better or the other is worse, or one is more advantageous or the other is less advantageous, or one is to be praised or the other is to be blamed, that there's no value judgment here. The point here is that the conventionally Europeans are very rational people. That whether it is good or not, good or bad, it is not our concern. But these people are very emotional. You can see. So they like the emotions rather than reasoning. And then you see integration and wholeness. They are not concerned with minute details, searching for minute details like that. The whole thing, look at the whole thing, the whole situation. Understand? Yes. And then you can see again another is their rhythmic principles they have. Soul, I said that soul, repetition. Yes. Who let the dogs out? Like that. So new tastes and new values. So there is a distinctive a separation away from European tastes and values. That's what they understand. And this negritude, philosophy of negritude, had got a distinctive, tremendous influence on writers. 1920s, two American intellectuals, so that is, you must have come across those people, Langston Hughes and Richard Wright, these people, Langston Hughes and Richard Wright, these are the people. Richard Wright, Langston Hughes, Richard Wright, in 1920s. They were very much influenced by this negritude, approach of negritude towards post-colonial writings, especially race-based writing. And another very interesting to note that there is a debate here among the Africans themselves, whether you can have a total separation from the European way of looking at things. One of the reasons they say that whatever the Europeans consider as weakness, whatever the Europeans consider as weakness, those are the points, those are the plus points in negritude. Another is that Soinga, for example, a famous writer. He in his book, Myth, Literature and the African World, Soinga's book. Myth, Literature and the African World. I think you have taken these things down now. Myth, Literature and the African World. That's a book written by Soinga. So it's Myth, Literature and the African World. African World. He says that it is not possible to have a total separation from the European way of looking at literature and writings. The reason he says is that this negritude is also based on the European acknowledges, so to say, European critical and epistemological assumptions. So it is based on, the basis for negritude is also European epistemological and critical assumptions. Epistemology, that is theory of knowledge, knowledgical and critical assumptions. Because they are also following the Western binary. Western binaries, that's the thing. So in this case also what happens is, they are also following the Western philosophical tradition. So you can't just, the essential basis is the binary, Western binary nature of Western thinking. The binary nature of Western thinking. And also assumptions, epistemological and critical assumptions based on this. Negritude is based on them. So you can't escape from that. Whatever you do, it's like a vicious circle. You want to escape from something, but you fall into that. That's what Soinga says. Whether we should agree with that or not, we don't know. But anyhow, this is something great, that at least they have got that idea now. Always our literature, our writings is something different from the other. A distinctive black conscience. The qualities are different, aesthetics different, the approach is different. So that's a great thing, I think. So it has been, as I told you, of great influence on writers, intellectuals like Langston Hughes and Richard Wright. Yes. And Said, the post-colonial writer, Said, you might have come across his name. He said this is a kind of, what you call a double kind of possessive exclusion, he says. It's a kind of double kind of possessive exclusion. So somehow says he's a post-colonial writer, and according to him, this attitude of the negritudinist criticism and philosophy is an attempt at a double kind of possessive exclusion. So you want to exclude, and at the same time you want to be very possessive. Understand? This is how different people look at negritude. But anyhow, whatever happens, you can see black writing models, they are very important in the study of post-colonial writings, because for one thing, it has got a wider range. As we started, when we started speaking about this, or when we started discussing about these things, we already found that it cuts across many of the literatures of post-colonial societies, cuts across. Means it includes, you can say. Or you can say it includes. Or another word that you can use is traverses. Traverses several of the literatures from post-colonial societies, and that is black writing. And there is some kind of a focus now. There is a focus wherever they are. Wherever there is black diaspora, all those writings produced by the black diaspora, whether it is a minority of blacks in America or the majority African nations or the West Indies or the Caribbeans or anyone, you can study this with a focus. The focus is the negritude. I think that you have understood what is negritude and also the black or the race-based model. Race-based model is very important. Another point is that race is considered one of the features for economic and political domination and exploitation. So all these people, wherever they are, they had to undergo this exploitation, both economic and political and also cultural. Understand? So therefore this model is important. I hope that you have been enjoying my classes and you understood what you have understood what I have been trying to tell you. So we will see again. If you have any problems, you should contact me. See that you can have my if you visit my website, you get all details about me, www.englishforme.in, and then you can contact me. There will be contact numbers and contact address and so on. So you can contact Gmail and so on. Therefore, you can contact me. So till then,